Hello and welcome to today's webinar. Today we are talking about affirmations and how to get them working for you. If you're anyway spiritually inclined and you've been using affirmations, no doubt you'll be familiar with them, you'll be familiar about their benefits, but if you've been using them for a while and you find that they're just falling short or you're not seeing results from your affirmations, I'm here to tell you how to turn that around and how to get them working for you. I'm Sandra Ray and I am a life alchemist dedicated to helping you to deeply heal, to step into your power and to live your best life. So today we're going to be talking about how to start using affirmations and how long you need to use them for. So how long you need to repeat them for and what the best amount of time to do that is. We're going to be talking about how people use affirmations and expect them to work straight away or expect them to cover over old wounds or things that they have to deal with. So we're going to talk about why that won't work. And we're going to talk about the phrasing and language that you use for your affirmations to get the most out of them. We'll be talking about the emotions behind the words and how to supercharge your affirmations with emotion. And we'll also be talking about what to do if you forget to say your affirmations, how to remind yourself to say them. So let's get started. First of all, I want to talk about how, if you're saying affirmations, if you're using affirmations, okay, so you know that they're beneficial, you know all the spiritual teachers are talking about affirmations and how they are so good to turn your life around. If you're not seeing results, the chances are that maybe you repeat an affirmation every so often, or you might repeat an affirmation on a daily basis, but you may do it for a few minutes and then forget about it for the rest of the day. So if that's you, if you repeat affirmations for a couple of minutes in the morning time, say when you're getting ready, or maybe in the evening time, and in between that period, if you do it for say 5 or 10 minutes in the morning, and then you forget about your affirmation and you go about your day. And if your thoughts, if your predominant thoughts during the day are thinking about lack, are thinking about frustration, are thinking about all the things that are going wrong in your life, those 10 minutes of affirmations are not going to counterbalance a day's worth of thinking about the worst case scenario, a day's worth of worrying, a day's worth of anxiety. So think about it. 10 minutes, it's obviously going to get you starting off at a good start if you do that when you start your day. But if you want to maintain that positive focus, if you want to maintain that intention, you have to repeat your affirmations throughout the day. So I'm going to talk to you in a minute how to do that. But I think this is where, when I started off, I went wrong. I used to say affirmations in my car on my way to work. And then, exactly as I said, I'd forget about them during the day and then wonder if they were having any impact. Now, the one thing I will say is, because I was consistent in doing them every day in my car on the way to work, those affirmations started to become ingrained in my psyche, in my subconscious. So that was doing some good, because I began to think about what I was saying and I began to integrate it on a subconscious level. So from that point of view, there is benefit to repeating them for a few minutes each day. But in order to start seeing results, in order to start changing your life, you need to maintain that during the day. So we'll talk about how to do that and how to bring affirmations into your daily life without having to change your routine, without having to start, thinking differently or doing things differently, and without making it a chore, because at the end of the day, your affirmations are meant to be something uplifting, they're meant to be something that you enjoy doing. And if it's something that you feel you have to do, that it's time to do my affirmation now, then that's completely missing the point. So making it so that it's something you enjoy doing and something you look forward to doing. Now, if you are feeling negative, if you are feeling painful emotions, if you're feeling worried, if you're feeling anxious, if you're feeling stressed, and you're using an affirmation to try and change that, to try and turn that around, that's okay. An affirmation is a great starting point. But your affirmation isn't going to heal the source of your worries or the source of your anxieties. So let me repeat that. Your affirmation isn't going to heal the source of your anxieties. It can very well begin to change your mindset. It can begin to bring a positive focus into your life. But invariably, you're going to have to do the work to heal the underlying cause, the underlying source of whatever it is that's bringing up that anxiety and those worries. And the way to do that is to use various techniques, which I'll go through with you in a minute. But if you're using your affirmations like a plaster or a band-aid, say you've a wound, an emotional wound, if you imagine it like a cut or a scrape, and if you're using an affirmation like a band-aid to put it over that cut or scrape, of course it's going to cover it up and you might even forget it's there for a while. But in order for that to heal, you're going to have to remove the plaster. You're going to have to remove that band-aid and let the air get at it. And it's the same with our own internal wounds, our emotional wounds. That emotional healing, you're going to need to look at it, what's coming up in order to fully heal and release it. The affirmation may, cover it for a while and it may seem to be gone or to have disappeared, but it's going to be lingering in, some deep, dark crevice. And you're going to have to bring it to the surface. And I know you're probably thinking, no, I just want to use an affirmation and forget about all that stuff. But really, it's worth doing the work now, because you will heal super fast if you do the work and if you put in the effort to healing those wounds, and your progress will be accelerated if you do that. Now, ways to do it. When you're saying an affirmation, if you're trying to stay positive and bring positivity into your life, you may use an affirmation like, the light of light streams through my mind, body and affairs here and now, revealing all in divine order. And that's a really powerful affirmation. And if you're using something like that, of course that's going to start bringing that energy into your life, into your being. But you may find there's something in your head, in the back of your head, saying, this is BS, this isn't true, because I'm feeling crappy or I'm feeling whatever. So if you find that things like that are coming up, pay attention to the talk that's coming up in your mind as you're saying your affirmations. Whatever counter argument that your mind may come up with is what you need to heal. So if you're saying to yourself, well, I'm not feeling that my affairs are in order because my affairs are totally in disarray, you can use EFT tapping to begin to work on that emotion or that feeling or whatever it is that's coming up for you. Now, if you're not familiar with EFT, you can look it up, do a Google search for emotional freedom technique or tapping, and there are plenty of resources, plenty of websites that you can go to that will explain how to do it. You can also use meditation to begin to explore, where those feelings lie, and explore the subconscious and allow those feelings to come up and to be released. You can use journaling, where you begin to write down about what's coming up, and you can release whatever you've written about through burning the page that you've just written on and releasing that energy. So there's plenty of ways to begin to start healing and releasing those old wounds, those things that are coming up for healing. But do not neglect them, do not ignore them. If you're saying affirmations and you have some counter argument coming up in your mind, pay attention, because that's a really important sign that something that needs to be healed and released. And when you do that, then you'll move forward super fast, you'll speed forward. So do the work. And then when it comes to setting an affirmation, the language that you're using, the phrasing that you're using is really important. So always use a present tense affirmation. You don't want to say something like, I will be rich and famous, or whatever it is, I will be financially abundant when I sort my career out, because that's set in the future, first of all, and the future never comes about. We live in the present. And it's also dependent on something else happening. You're saying I'll be financially abundant when I sort my career out. So you're, immediately limiting yourself by depending on something else to be sorted before you can be financially abundant. A much better affirmation would be, abundance flows to me with effortless ease, in perfect ways and under grace, so that you're opening up the doors for abundance to flow to you with effortless ease, in perfect ways that you might not even have imagined, and under grace. So the divinely led solution. And when you're phrasing affirmations, so first of all, phrase them in the present tense. Be aware of the language that you're using. So you don't want to use any negative connotations. You want to keep it super positive and always in the first person. So I am. And if your desire is to be a successful, published author, for example, you can say, I am now a best-selling author and my books reach and help millions of people. Then I know that's one affirmation that I used before I published my first book. I would affirm that I'm a best-selling author and my books reach and help millions of people. So it brought that energy of already being published into my field, into my mind, and I was affirming what I knew would happen in the future, but I was affirming it in the present tense, in the now. So really important to state whatever you want in the now, and to start to step into that version of you, that idealized whatever it is that you want to achieve or that you feel you need to bring into your life. Start stepping into it now. And then the language, as we said, keep it positive. Use words that are empowering. Use things that, if you find it difficult to phrase an affirmation, use affirmations that are working for people like, Louise Hay, who's the queen of affirmations. She has some amazing affirmations. Get her books and you'll find, plenty of affirmations that you can borrow. If you're phrasing them yourself, rather than just stating them as one part of what you're looking for. So let me explain. If you want to be a published author, so take the case I was talking about, rather than saying, I'm a best-selling published author and leaving it at that, there's a second part to that sentence. My books reach and help millions of people. So the reason why the second part is so important, the first part is focusing on what I want to achieve, and the second part is focusing on the people that I'm wanting to help. By wanting to be a best-selling published author, I know I can reach more people. I know that my work can get out into the world and into the hands that it needs to get into. And by stating the second part, it reaches and helps millions of people, I'm just reaffirming that those people that I want to help are being helped and are receiving that help from reading my books. So if you can state your affirmation in two parts, if there's a first part that is maybe focused on what you desire, and then a second part on what the benefit of that is to yourself or to other people. So that'll make it even more powerful and an even stronger affirmation. So next, we are looking at the feelings behind your affirmations. So when you're stating your affirmations, when you're repeating them, if you are repeating them and you can repeat them and have no feeling behind them. I brush my teeth in the morning and I have my affirmations on the mirror in front of me, and I'll repeat my affirmations as I'm brushing my teeth. And for me, that's a really good time to do it, because it's something that I'll remember to do, and we'll talk about that in a second. But I'll have them in front of me and I'll be saying it as I brush my teeth. And sometimes I'll forget to put the emotion behind them, and you're still receiving the benefit from saying them and practicing being in that zone. But if you put the emotion behind it, if you're stating something that, you're a best-selling author, if you feel what that would feel like to be achieved, how would you feel if you had already achieved that, or whatever it is that you want to achieve? How would you feel when that perfect state is realized? And if you can bring that feeling into the present moment, if you can feel that now while you're saying your affirmation, you are going to supercharge your affirmations, because you are going to bring that energy into your energy field. Now that energy of fulfillment, of happiness, of gratitude. Gratitude is a huge one to help to manifest your desires and to bring the energy into your affirmations that you need. So if you can bring gratitude into your affirmations, you are going to supercharge your affirmations. So bringing the energy of whatever you want to feel into your affirmations. So if you're stating something, if you're feeling blocked, for example, and you're stating an affirmation such as divine love through me now dissolves all seeming obstacles and makes my way clear, easy, and successful. How would that feel if your way ahead was free of obstacles, if it was clear, easy, and you're successful and everything was just falling into place? It's like you're walking on a golden path lined with abundance. How is that going to feel? So bring that feeling into the now and feel that, allow yourself to feel that, and just connect with that emotion while you're repeating the affirmation. And you don't have to do it for 5 minutes. You don't have to sit for 5 minutes feeling it. You can do it for 10 seconds or 20 or 30 seconds. If you do it for 30 seconds, you will not know yourself after a week of doing this. If you do it for 30 seconds, feeling those emotions for 30 seconds each time you're repeating your affirmations. Now, we talked about how 10 minutes in the morning isn't enough. And what I want is for you to begin to say your affirmations on a regular basis throughout the day. The more you can do, the better. So you're going to want to put your affirmations in a place where you're going to see them, where you're going to be reminded of them, because no matter your intentions, you are going to forget to say your affirmations. It's a given. You may start off in the morning saying them, and then life will happen and you'll forget to say them for the rest of the day. Or you may have a really good week where you're gung-ho and you say your affirmations all week, and then you completely forget about them when something else happens. And invariably, it's always when we feel most stressed, when we feel most fearful, when we feel most angry, when we most need those affirmations, that we forget to say them. So what to do to remember to say your affirmations? Put them in places where you're going to see them. So put your affirmation on your phone as your screensaver. I am always updating my phone and putting new affirmations on my screensaver. That's one that I took of a post-it note that I have in my mirror just to remind me to repeat it. I put my affirmations on my computer screen and it reminds me to say them during the day. I put post-it notes on my fridge, throughout my house. And I used to take my post-its down when people come to visit my house because, it's a little bit strange coming to my house and seeing all these affirmations. And then I thought, this is me, this is who I am. And most of my friends and people who know me know that that's what I'm about. So if they're coming into my house and seeing affirmations, okay, they may find it a bit strange, but I'm willing to leave them there because that's part of who I am. And I think if you're anyway spiritually inclined, there's no point in hiding. There's, a lot of people have hidden for years their spirituality and hidden behind these masks. And, I think now is the time, if ever there was a time, to celebrate your spirituality and to celebrate your life and your affirmations. And if people judge that, that's okay. People are going to judge, and it's okay to be who you are completely and fully, and to express yourself the way you want to express yourself. So anyway, back to affirmations. If you can remind yourself as many times during the day, set reminders on your phone, just little reminders to say, affirmation or whatever you want to put on your phone. If you set little reminders in places that you will be, regularly throughout the day. If you are going to be driving, have a post-it note maybe on your sun visor or somewhere in your car. If you're going to be in an office, have them at your desk, wherever you're going to be for a long period, have your affirmations there. But for me, the phone is something that always comes with me. So it's a great one to have my affirmations on my phone so that I'll always have access to them. And the final thing is, if you feel that you're repeating your affirmations, if you're doing everything right, you're feeling the emotion, you're remembering to say them throughout the day, you're remembering to put the emotions behind it, and you're phrasing them correctly, and you're just not seeing results, what I would say to you is keep going. Because when I was first dating, I'm a best-selling author, I have a current best-selling book. I'd say it was probably at least a year before that actually happened. Maybe it was a bit longer, but I kept repeating it for the year because I knew without a doubt that I had a book that needed to be published, that needed to get out into the world. And I knew that by affirming that each day, I was getting one step closer to that. And of course, then I did get my book published and it did go out into the world. And I think if you're feeling that you are not seeing results, keep going with it, because most of the time when you're about to have a breakthrough, when that miracle is about to occur, it's just when you're feeling like giving up, and it's when you're feeling at your lowest, and it's when you're feeling, oh, this isn't working, that's when the miracle is about to happen. So keep going with it, and it may take a year, it may take a week, or it may take a day. Miracles can happen instantly. So don't feel that something, because it's big, can't happen straight away. For me, it was just the process that I was going through, that it took a little bit longer, but it can happen so much faster, and it can happen really quickly if it's something that you truly believe in. If you truly are aligned with it, then you can bring it into your life. The only caveat that I would mention is that if you are trying to manifest something, make sure that it's not ego-led, that it's divinely led, because we often make the mistakes of trying to manifest something that the ego wants, and that's going to end up in not failure. It may come about, but it's not going to give you the satisfaction, the fulfillment that you want, because it's ego driven. The ego is never satisfied. So if you are trying to manifest something, just sit in meditation, just ask yourself, is this the divinely selected option for me? Or is there something even better that the divine has in mind that I couldn't even know about at this time? So just check in with what you're trying to manifest, what you're using the affirmations for, and the reasoning or the knowing behind your affirmation. Just know that it is for the greatest good of all concerned. So that's how to get your affirmations working, and how to begin seeing the results in super fast time. And if you are getting results, if you have any other affirmations that you use or any other tips for affirmations, I'd love to hear from you. So do let me know what you do and what works for you, and I will see you soon.